Hello and welcome to another edition of Around the Ice on Fantasy in Frames, a hockey podcast. Week one of the NHL season's in the books. We are going to go over all the games, a big slate here on Tuesday night. We're going to talk about everything going on, what kind of happened in week one, and then we're going to give you a little just quick rapid fire breakdown of each team and where they kind of sitting here after week one of the season. Get ready. Here we go. Around the Ice. I want to welcome in my co-host, Brian Toast Clark and Aaron Tomatich. Thanks, guys, for joining me here tonight. It's officially here, hockey season. We had a great kickoff night last week on Tuesday at Toast House. We were out on the patio, got everything going. Our buddy John McGlynn from the Home League was there to help us out. Aaron was unable to make it. We missed you, man, but we had a great time. Talked for about 3.5 hours. Got crazy going over everything hockey related. Now we're into the season as we have our season slate. A lot of action tonight so far, guys. It's been a while. First week of the season, you just kind of never know what you're going to get. And I think we've got some shockers here to start things out. Just before we jumped on the show, Calgary going up 1-0 on the Wings, or on the Blackhawks, and then the Blackhawks, bam, 10 seconds later, come right back and tie it up. We're at 1-1 in that game. A bunch of other games are in the second and third period. We'll kind of talk about those as a few of those are getting ready to go final here. And then the late game, 10 Eastern time, 9 Central. Oilers at home against the Flyers. We'll chat that one up here just a minute and see if there's anything we like in that one. Is the Oilers off to a terrible 0-3 start. Super disappointing. Flyers 1-1. Fellas, let's just jump right in to this Oilers Flyers game. Let's talk about them in this game since it's about ready to go. Any kind of bets we like in this game? What's going on? As I just said, 0-3 Oilers, super disappointing start.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't say it better. Oilers 0-3. Not a whole lot of bets out there right now that I like, just because it's not an Oilers team I recognize. I mean, it could be a million different things, and we'll talk about it when we, a little bit more here in depth when we talk about the teams. But the bets, it's 3 games, but they got to come out of it. Philly's going to skate hard. They got Tortorella and all those young guys, so they're going to skate hard. But the only bet I put anything on is I'm going for a shutout. Stuart Skinner has gotten just reamed on his shitty play, so he's going to come out of man possessed. He's going to put I hopefully, but it's plus 1,000, so I like the odds. Just sprinkled a couple bucks on that just to see if I can get something going, because I'll say this, JT, you mentioned it. You started a crazy season. I've lost a lot putting some money on the Oilers, waiting for them to break out and waiting for them to be the team we all saw that was a game away from winning the Stanley Cup. So I figure they owe me. There is another bet out there. Just looked it up on DraftKings. You can bet the Edmonton to win. It's not a 3-way bet, so Edmonton to win, including overtime or shootout. McDavid to score a goal. Hyman plus 4 shots. Not crazy about that one. And then Draisaitl to assist. Now, McDavid and Draisaitl are playing the same line tonight, or at least that's the way they're going to start out. So the odds on that one about plus 650. So maybe that one. I did not bet that one, but if you think today's the day that Edmonton breaks out of it, then that might be a good one. So those two are kind of what have my attention for this late game.
Yeah, Toast, we got off to a great start on opening night. You were all over the Toast takes. You hammered all your bets home. I had my 3-pick parlay hit as well. We were off to a great start, but man, it's been ugly since that opening night is it. A lot of our favorite bets, a lot of the guys we like to take, we are just not getting lucky at all. As some of these teams that we thought were going to be, pretty good teams, I still think will be good teams. I've gotten off to some pretty slow starts, and those have kind of killed the bets so far to start of this season. Let's talk a little bit just as we're going around the ice here. Let's talk about a little bit of the action that's happened tonight already. Hurricanes 4-2 win over the Devils. They get their first win of the season. Lightning 4-1 win over the Canucks as they stay undefeated. Canucks still winless. And then the Capitals getting their first win, a 4-2 win over the Knights. The Knights dropped to 3-1, their first loss of the year. Currently, other games still going on right now. In the third period, we've got Florida currently up 4-3 with 2 minutes left. Florida up over Columbus 4-3 with 2 minutes left. Minnesota up 3-0 over the Blues with about 12 minutes left in the third. And then San Jose, Dallas tied 2-2 at the end of 2. And Nashville is currently losing at home 3-2 to Seattle with about 2:50 left in the second period there. Just underway, Calgary, Chicago tied 1-1, like I just said. About a minute left in the first period there. And then we've got about 20 minutes to the puck drops. Edmonton Oilers trying to get off the snide. 0-3 start going against the 1-1 Flyers. That game starting again, like I said, about 20 minutes time.
Yeah, one thing I actually like about the games in progress right now, we are all a little weary about can Sam Reinhart actually come back this season and try to replicate what he did last season, with the 57 goals. If you look at what's happened tonight with Reinhart, now he would think, going into the Columbus, that should be an easy one. Not right now. Columbus actually coming off a big, big win in Edmonton, just like the Hawks are actually coming off a big win in Edmonton. I'm sorry. They came off a big win in Colorado. Edmonton and Colorado are the same team right now. They're as frustrated as most. I mean, so you almost think of them one and the same. But Reinhardt's got 3 points tonight. Now he's got 9 points going right now. And this is their fourth game. We'll get into a little bit about them. They have the injury bug, but right now Reinhardt is almost putting that team a little bit on his back. I know you say, hey, it's only been a couple of games in the season. He's been awesome. And an $8.5 million contract or whatever ended up being that friendly contract he gave them, he seems to be replicating that. So moving forward, you got to be thinking it's the hottest player in the league probably right now. You got to jump on some Sam Reinhart props. Bedard actually has 3 shots on goal in the first period at the Flames there. That's a good sign. If he can actually start shooting like crazy, anytime he gets 3 shots in the first period, that's great. So we need to watch that one and see. But right now, if the Hawks, I would imagine, are plus money still on the money line. And I still like that one to be the under 6. I like under 6 tonight with the Hawks and Flames. Mrazek has actually been playing very, very well. And I like Markstrom as well. So like that to go under.
Yeah, how about the start that Calgary's got off to? Just kind of a surprising team. Everybody kind of just, it's like, well, what are you going to get from Calgary? They've looked pretty bad. It just seemed like, what did they do in the offseason? 3-0 to start the year. A really nice start for Calgary. I mean, you look at the schedule so far, some nice wins, beating Vancouver 6-5, then 6-3 over Philly, and then that big 4-1 win against Edmonton. This is, you would think their easiest game, playing the Blackhawks at home, but they've looked really good so far.
Yeah. It seems like the teardown teams aren't doing too bad. They're showing out. I mean, I know San Jose, they're in one right now, tied with Dallas 2-2. They should have won the St. Louis game. Again, I know we'll do our team breakdown, but yeah, these complete teardown teams, Calgary, San Jose, throw the Hawks in there,
Columbus.
Yeah, really. They're off to a great start. But yeah, I who saw it coming? Not me. I did not have that on the bingo card that all these teams would be competing with these juggernauts.
Yeah, and JT will say that all the heavy hitters, all the the Edmontons, the Colorados, the Torontos, and even the Lightning, even though the Lightning have actually got to a pretty good start there. All the heavy hitters there in fantasy and also just in NHL, they've all got off to extremely slow starts, whether it actually be record or actually whether it be statistics. So betting wise has been minus the opening night. Betting's actually been a complete nightmare so far. Nothing's happened. Nobody's won anything. I guarantee it. If you actually talk to everybody who actually regularly bets in NHL right now, everybody's down several units already because you expect to go ahead and just wagon your money to the best players in the world that actually produce 100 and 110, 120, 130 points a year. And their teams right now are acting like they've never played a hockey game before. And Draisaitl, 3 games right now, 5 shots on goal. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, so we could talk a bit of fantasy. I mean, hell, I got Bouchard and Hyman right now, and I actually have Skinner. And guess what? I win, and I actually had the 4th most points in the league actually, and get a win in an opening week. And my 3 out of my 4 best players are crap. and Rantanen, besides his hat trick on opening night, which was amazing, did nothing as well, and actually still win and actually get a lot of production from the rest of the roster, which is a good sign, which is a really, really good sign. But man, Edmonton did nothing for me. I know, Aaron, that hurt you, right? That actually hurt you. And McDavid not being McDavid, that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, you almost pencil him in for, a 5 point per game performance almost every night. I mean, I guess, you kind of take that for granted, but then,
5
like you
fantasy
said,
points. Yeah.
Not real points. Yeah, 5 fantasy points. Sorry, but
Well, you could probably do it.
yeah. Yeah. If there's anybody that can, but and then to your point, some of the role players, some of the bottom 6 guys that a lot of us jumped on Arvidsson, Skinner, like just off season. Oh my God, look at what a brilliant move, this, that, and again, 3 games in tonight. Tonight will be their 4th game. You got to give them some time, but it just seems like, it just kind of sucks when those things don't pay off right away. But we'll see.
And JT, and before we move on, I just want to say one thing, and hopefully a lot of people listening to this and other people that actually have their own podcast maybe listen to this agree. It's not the fact that Colorado and Edmonton are 0-3. It's who they've lost to and how they've actually lost.
Yes.
And the goaltending is horrendous. Absolutely brutal. Is losing Cody Ceci that big of a deal to Edmonton? I mean, because if you look at their roster, they've improved. They're better. And I don't know if it's the pressure of just knowing that, hey, this is their time, this is their window. They actually have to win, and they came out like this last year, and then they had to make the coaching change, and they come out this year and they're slow again. If it's kind of a mental deal, I don't know. All I know in the end, they'll be there. In the end, McDavid will have his 130 points, and at some point, if you could even try to fleece somebody and actually steal a Draisaitl right now and actually trade him for, like, let's say, like a Jack Hughes or somebody, thinking, well, Jack Hughes is starting to come on right now. You got to do that, right? So it would be interesting to see kind of what people are trying to do this week, just saying, hey, this slow start, I can take advantage of this and maybe move somebody and actually grab one of those Edmonton players.
Yeah, I'm just looking at our home league roster. A guy I took in the last round of our draft is my leading scorer, Anthony Mantha. For Calgary is my leading scorer right now with 22.7 points. That's not good for my team. That's awesome that he scored 22 points, but that does not help my fantasy team. That he's the top scorer on my team is not good. The fact that he has got 22.7 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, 7 penalty minutes, 7 shots on goal, a shorthanded goal, a game-winning goal, and 4 hits. 22.7. He's my leading scorer right now. And then my next best guy, right behind him, is McKinnon. And then eventually Malkin. Malkin has got 19.2 points for me in week 1. 1 goal, 6 assists already, 6 shots on goal. I mean, I got 2 guys that I got pretty late. They're my top guys. So it's nice to see them producing, but that's bad when they're at the top of my list. That means all my big guns are not right now, and that's rough for fantasy and for betting purposes.
All you need to know on how weird the start of this season's actually been from a fantasy perspective and an NHL perspective as well is that Paul Cotter is actually leading our league in points. The newcomer to the Devils, he actually came over from Vegas. And guess what? He's on nobody's roster on a dynasty roster that actually rosters 40 players. We have 400 players. So that just goes to show you that's where we're at, man. And that right there shows why no bets have actually been won either, because it's just been stupid everywhere. Tonight, I actually went with Eichel 2 assists, and the Eichel, Stone, and Barbership, and have been showing themselves or whatnot. Eichel gets a goal, no assists as well, but they actually get a couple power play goals. But yet he's not on either one of them, which is really rare, right? And then, Kucherov, the same thing. They scored 4 points tonight, and Kucherov has actually just been on fire, whatnot. No assists for Kucherov. So just stuff like that. It'll all average out, but right now, like the betting's just not working out. If you're actually holding your wagon to the superstars, it's just not working.
What do we want to get into next? We want to go talk a little more fantasy, talk about the league. What do you think, it's host?
Yeah, real quick before we kind of get into maybe a little bit of our league here. But JT, the Wild Blues 3-1 there in the third. That is, I thought that'd be more of a high scoring game tonight. The Blues have actually been putting up a lot of goals. Actually been looking surprisingly pretty well, but they're 3-1 right now. 6 minutes left in the third. It will be interesting to see with the Wild. I assume Gustafson's actually going tonight in goal. Yeah, he actually has 23 at 24 as well. Bennington. That would have been one I would have just got on the under, I guess. But the one I didn't really see actually come in was the Sharks and Stars. And I still actually have the Stars tonight -1.5. And I still think that's going to go because we're at the end of second here. But the fact that the Sharks have no Celebrini right now, and then they're going into a Stars team that is so unbelievably freaking deep and good, and they're just getting so much production that it's 2-2 at the end of 2. I would say right now, if you could still get the Stars right now at the -1.5 right now on the puck line, I'd put a lot of money on that. Because I think the Stars are going to blow the doors off the Sharks in the third period here. They're too deep. They're probably messing around with them, almost like a cat, just kind of toying with something right now. We'll have to check and see what that is, JT. The Stars right now live on the live bet for the puck line, and hopefully it's close to plus money. If it is, I love that.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and as I'm looking to
I was going to say, I'm pulling right now. It is, if you want to go -1.5, it's plus 195.
That's a great
right now. So you get on Stars.
I was thinking it'd be plus 105, 110.
Also, you got Predators Kraken going right now. Intermission, it's 3-3 heading into the third. If you want to get on the Preds in that one, -1.5, it's plus 270, or you can take the money line at -175 there. Blackhawks Flames currently tied at 1 after 1. Money line is 154 on the Flames, plus 120 on the Blackhawks. And -205 for Edmonton if you want to just take the money line. -105 the puck line, plus 124 for Edmonton in this one, plus 170 for Flyers money line, and -148 plus 1.5.
Yeah, I went ahead and just put down a small amount of money on the Stars on the puck line on the live bet, the Hawks on the money line on the live bet, and then the Oilers again to get off the schneid, as Aaron was actually saying, on the puck line as well. Once they actually go and get a little bit of confidence and get up like a 2-0, they're going to explode, and they're going to beat somebody like 8-2. It's going to be something like that. That's at plus 1,300 right there. If you can get 3 of those together. Again, Dallas on the puck line, Edmonton on the puck line, and the Blackhawks on the money line right now. All looking fairly good. Again, going to have a little bit of luck. That's any parlay right there, but that's a plus 1,300.
Yeah, and to your point, Tosa, again, I've just been kind of watching a few of the Sharks games, mostly for Will Smith and Celebrini. Unfortunately, Celebrini hit the IR. Seems like it's a minor thing, though. He'd be out maybe a couple more games, and then he'll be back. Most of the games they've played so far, they've played a good first 2/3 of the game. And then that third period, again, I go back to that St. Louis goal. They might have had a 2-goal lead going into the third, or at least 1-goal lead.
Okay.
And St. Louis came back and ended up beating them in overtime. So I like what you're saying about Dallas. They're getting their resting up. They're going to come out guns a-blazing. So like that bet a lot. Especially at the, what'd you say was, yeah, I just threw it on there too. I think it plus
Plus
195.
1353. Oh, I'm sorry for the Dallas. Yeah, plus 195. Yeah. But
Yeah,
right now, I'm
I'm-
telling you, the way things have been going, I don't be like, hey, Debbie Downer here. It ain't gonna go. I mean, it's just too much stupid stuff's happening right now. And if you were smart, you would actually, which I'm not, but if you were, you just put your money away, come back 2 weeks from now, let things settle down, right? But that's no fun.
That's not
So
what,
we're
that's
gonna
no
continue to
fun.
do that. Yeah.
I jumped in on that one with you, the toast, threw all those ones in there, but at this point, it's like just sprinkle a little bit, and
Yeah,
just
just
see
a
what
little bit.
until we can get the momentum turned around, and then we can start getting a little bit heavier on some stuff. But yeah, it's been a rough start, as we've all seen early going here.
Yeah, I think we're probably ready, JT.
You want to go? You guys
to
ready
kind of
for
get into some
the?
rapid fire here.
Let's
I
go.
mean,
Let's. I got it around the ice rapid fire. Here we go. We're gonna go through each team this week. Everybody just kind of bounce back and forth here between Aaron and Toast, and kind of give us kind of quick thoughts on where this team is at after week one, the good, the bad, or the ugly. Let's start things off with Aaron, and we're going with number one, Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, good start for the Ducks. They beat again. I'd throw Anaheim Ducks in one of those teardown type teams. They tore down their team the last couple of years, but a good start. They beat the Sharks a couple of times. I mentioned that Sharks seemed to fall apart here in the third period, which I'm hoping is a trend, unless they just. Oh, I thought he just put one in. He didn't. Oh, anyway, but yeah, no, good start for Anaheim. Good goaltending. I don't know if I got the pronunciation right here, but Dostal.
yeah.
Not sure if I'm saying that right, but he came through with a shutout. No major injuries yet. Cutter Gautier's been up. So average. But just from a fantasy perspective, they have Utah and Colorado this week. Toast, you've said it a couple times now. Colorado and Edmonton might as well be the same squad. Totally agree with you. Colorado can't even win at home. Last night they got dummied by the Islanders of all teams. Of course, it's Patrick Roy's homecoming. So whatever that was, they drummed them. But you don't know what to expect. Utah's a beatable team. I think Anaheim can do it. So in terms of starts, not the best, but not the worst either. And again, they've come out flying. Now, once the adrenaline settles in, this team will settle in. Like to your point, 2 weeks from now they'll settle into what we think they are, which is a non-playoff team. They'll be losing, giving up those goals again. But right now, bang bang start. Good job on the Ducks.
Next team up here on the list for us. It's Toast. We got number two, Boston Bruins. Where we at on the Bruins, a team that we were a little down on to start the year, but hasn't been too bad.
Bruins are pretty fortunate to be 2-2 right now, considering their big guns really have not just come out and just lit the world on fire. They're getting carried by guys like Kastelik and Kepke, Beecher. I see Carlo and Larry. They're kind of all on the top of the score sheet here through a few games, and their big guns aren't really doing a whole lot. You know, when I say big guns, you got Pasternak and you got Marchand, you got Zaka, and McAvoy had a goal. He actually helped me out on opening night there, but I remember that with the live cast there. But Marchand, he's 0 for 11 so far through 4 games shooting. Not worried about that. He's been very, very active, on the ice, both with ice time as well as actually hitting the crap out of people like he always does. The goaltending's a little shaky to start, but that's kind of expected, right? With Swayman actually coming in, signing late with a holdout, and Corpus-Salad is still getting acclimated with the team as well. Tomorrow night, they're at Colorado. Again, that's going to be an unknown. given how bad and how injured Colorado is right now. But the Bruins, don't go out and be picking up that Castellic, Kepke, Beecher, Carlo Lowry, those type of guys unless you're in the absolute deepest of leagues because the ice time is so great. It's just kind of, again, the weirdness and this by chance it's actually happened so far in this NHL season.
Number 3 team on the list, Buffalo Sabres, Aaron.
Buffalo Sabres, boy, did they stink in Europe. They played in Czechia, and they got just drilled. They look like a minor league team. You thought, oh boy, here we go again. Again, 2 games, but still the back-to-back. Yeah, you hate seeing that. Then they come back, they beat Florida. So we still don't know who they are. And I don't know if you caught this, JT. It kind of went around social media, but your boy Dahlin was in a scrap in practice. He went at Krebs. There was some back and forth there. Dahlin, so I'm not anti-Dahlin. I'm very pro Dahlin, but the guy gets the C on his chest. You just don't see captains fighting.
C and then immediately gets to do it.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. What happened there? And again, if you pull that up it's all over. It's on X or Twitter or YouTube, and pretty good little scrap. And in terms of the fantasy outlook for the week, any fantasy implications for this kind of lukewarm start, I'll say. If they would have gone 0-3, I would have been like, oh god, here we go. We're already seeing what we thought we might see, and another shitty season out of Buffalo, but. Paterka's 50-50 on his start on Wednesday, but they have 3 winnable games this week: Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Chicago. I think they're right there with all 3 talent-wise. I think that they probably, if they win 2 of those 3, then they'll be just fine. If they go 0-4, then they're probably that crappy team we saw in Europe. But yeah, that's what I got on them. We'll time will tell.
Toast, we just kind of briefly touched on them, but playing tonight here against the Blackhawks, number 4 on our list, Calgary Flames.
Yeah, one of the surprise teams, JT, this season so far, 3-0, tied with the Blackhawks right now, on 1-1 after 1 period here. Again, went into Edmonton and beat them 4-1, which again, everybody's doing. You don't even have to be any good to do that right now, which is crazy. They're scoring a ton of goals right now, 16 goals in 3 games, and that is not the Calgary Flames team we actually thought we were going to see, man. I mean, with Huberdeau, who is coming off as an awful couple of seasons, but they're getting it from him. And I really, really like Rasmus Anderson. He's actually done really, really well. And hey, Popsicle, I'm going to call him the Popsicle. I can't pronounce his name. I butcher it like JT every time. But and Kadri, you mentioned Anthony Mantha as well, kind of trying to resurrect a career over there in Calgary, JT, for you. Connor Zary and Kuzmenko, and even the guy who fills up the stat sheet, Uyghur. They're all chipping in. The shots on goal are really, really spread out. They're playing great team hockey so far. This has been a very, very good surprise. I would, again, try to maybe sell high on Huberdeau. I can't believe this is for real. None of this is actually for real. You don't want to actually sell on Uyghur. You want to keep him or whatnot. But any of these other guys that they're producing into high volume, you need to sell now. And because I just don't really believe this can actually continue. Do pick up Connor Zary, though, because the reason I'd say that is even in non-dynasty leagues, he's getting 19 minutes and 3 seconds in time on ice so far in the 3 games. That is kind of surprising, honestly. I know they're kind of like scrapping at the bottom of the barrel for people, but that's great deployment and time on ice actually for a younger player. He's got 4 points in 3 games to start the season, so go get Zary.
Next up on the list here is Carolina Hurricanes, Aaron.
And I think you said it before, JT, to kind of kick these guys off. They had a win tonight over the Devils. Devils look awesome, look amazing. So for Carolina to get that home win, it's a good win. They look good. I caught some of that game, caught most of the first period. And again, it's just your typical Carolina defense first, even though, with some big subtractions that or guys that they couldn't sign, didn't have enough money to sign. They still look like the Carolina Hurricanes that we've kind of come to know in the Brendan Moore area. 2-2 at the moment. This week on the slate again. Well, the Devils tonight, they won that one. I'd say that was probably their toughest test for the week. They have Pittsburgh and St. Louis for the rest of the week. So it could be something to consider. At least maybe again, look at the goal output. I know Pittsburgh's put up some decent numbers on goals here to kick off the season, but that could be something you look at on the under. And the goalies there in as predicted are switching off game on, game off. So you've got that true tandem 50-50 of at least of goaltender time there in Colorado or Carolina, excuse me. The one thing I'll say, and again, I'm gonna continue singing our songs of woe as in terms of our betting, other than the opening night. Carolina snapped a 7-year winning streak where they won their first game at home. 7 years they had going. It's money in the bank. I put a pretty good number of units on it, and what do you know, they lost. So, yeah, it just we got some time. There's only room to improve based on how this week is.
Long season, but yeah, it's always tough when you get off to that rough start. It just feels like everything is opposite right now. Everybody that's not supposed to be good is playing good. Everybody that's supposed to be good is off to a bad start. All kinds of guys are already nicked up. It's just been kind of that funky first week or month of the season that sometimes you get.
Yeah, it's nothing like fantasy football, JT. I mean, where everyone's freaking hurt. I don't even want to pay attention to it anymore.
I had a league that has short benches, and I had to drop so many players just to get a startable lineup. And then afterwards, I put up no points. And I was like, I should have just played all the guys on bye week. I would have been better off holding my players and just taking it on the chin, because I tried to fill in with all kinds of dud players just to make a lineup work. And it was a disaster. I was like, oh, man. I was like, this league's over. I can't believe I just did all that. I'm like, just pack that one away for this year. Next up on our list, Chicago Blackhawks, Toast.
Yeah, not one of the best teams. We actually know, hey, Hawks right here in the NHL, but they actually look like an NHL team this year. And they're actually beating NHL teams. So that's really a great start for what is really a young team. We do actually have some veterans on that team to kind of balance it out there that are some more role players and stuff. But you got to love the chemistry between Teuvo Teravainen, who actually comes back to Chicago since 2015 when they actually won the Cup, and Connor Bedard. They both actually have 5 points through 3 games right now. So Teuvo could be available in some leagues. And I would say if he is, as long as he's actually tied to the hip with Bedard, go get him. He's actually been known for like that two-way, 200-foot player that may not actually just get you a ton of goals, but he's actually going to get more of the assists, whatnot. He's doing everything right now. So just with the start, you might as well go and ride the hot streak. I'd actually pick up Teuvo if you actually can. And as long as with Bedard, he's actually going to benefit. I'd also pick up Peter Mrazek, actually, as I did in our Dynasty League as well. If you need a volume starter that's really just going to kind of get the call most nights, he had an awful team last year. He had a 907 save percentage. This year he's got a 906 to start the season. So go get Mrazek if you can as well.
Aaron, where are we at on the Avalanche? We kind of mentioned him, but the Colorado Avalanche off to a rough start here.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, it's supposed to be 30 to 45 seconds. You may end up needing to take like 9 segments here to actually discuss Colorado, huh?
I know. Where do you start? That's my pause. Where do I start? And I'm gonna, you hate doing this, saying, okay, it's one guy. Goalie's just that position. Again, we've talked about the goalie position, how weird these guys are. It's like a kicker position. Just when I think about football, a lot rests on that one shoulder. Obviously, a lot more responsibility as goalie, but Georgiev, geez, he looks awful. The saves, their first shot type of goals, just high slot, high shots are going in, low shots are going in. Whatever I can't remember what year the playoffs when he got the name Georgiev because he was giving up 4 goals a game, but it looks like that player is back. I don't know what's going on. I watched the last night's game against the Islanders. I watched the Colorado broadcast, which if you want a good chuckle, I don't know their names, but they do a good job and they kind of keep things live. They were actually hot mic between intermission. Sometimes you get the satellite feed through the ESPN, and so yeah, I don't know what they were talking about, but it was definitely something that probably shouldn't have made it on air. But that said, they would walk around eggshells with Georgiev. Like, I don't know if he's I know he's had his struggles before, but just like a save. Oh, well, that's a confidence builder. It's like, no, that's just a little, that wasn't really a shot. It hit him. So, again, your big guys aren't there. Yeah, you're bitten by the injury bug, but you watch McKinnon and he doesn't look like McKinnon yet. You watch McCarr and he's kind of like, I had a hard time finding him on the ice, which I obviously you watch a game, you pick up a number, you hear the name. Usually McCarr, McDavid, McKinnon, those are guys well, there he is. I need to see the number, but he kind of blended in, and I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, again, with the rest of this week, the rough start for sure. This isn't the real them. This isn't the real team. We know this. We've said it a million times. They got Boston and Anaheim. I'm going to leave the Colorado talk on a positive note. Callum Ritchie, who it wasn't a given that he was going to make the team, and he's getting a lot of second line looks, especially while Landy's, who knows if Landeskog's ever coming back, but he's played a lot on the second line, and he got his first goal last night, and he looked really good. He got 5-6 shots last night. In your deeper leagues, non-dynasty leagues, you can probably find him out there. So a guy you may want to go ahead and pick him up or flag him, but he could be a guy when they do turn it around that they could lean on, because they're certainly leaning on him now. He's 19 years old, so super young, and get that second line time, and doing it when the rest of the team isn't quite playing up to what we expect them to play could be signs of a good solid player.
Toast, where are we at on the Columbus Blue Jackets to get things started this year?
Jackets, I would wonder if they're playing inspirational hockey right now. After the death of Johnny Gaudreau, no longer actually having Patrick Laine, and really going with one of the youngest rosters and also one of the most Russian rosters in NHL this season. But I don't really think anybody expected them to kind of be as competitive they actually been coming out of the gate here. Really, really tough first 3 games. They go at Minnesota with a 3-2 loss, and that's a really, really good game to go there and actually play them on opening night and actually lose 3-2. Then they go to Colorado and again embarrass Colorado on home ice 6-4. That's as low as it gets. Actually, Columbus going into Colorado actually with the group they actually have and beating them 6-4. That's real low. And again tonight, my bet, I actually had them on the +1.5. On the Toast Takes. If you actually see those, I'll put those out every single day for the most part. I had Columbus on the +1.5 actually going into Florida, with Florida actually starting Spencer Knight in goal and actually being as short-handed they are right now with some injuries and stuff. They do lose, but they actually only lose 4-3. So that's really, really good signs for a Columbus team. They're kind of right now being kind of led by Yegor Chinakhov. And he's been amazing so far, with a goal and 3 assists through 2 games. And Zach Werenski, man, I'm really glad I actually picked him up in Dynasty right now, because Werenski is determined, I think, to maybe shoot 10 to 12 times a game. He is killing shots on goal right now. Just determined to actually put the puck on the net. I really, really love that. So you got to love where Columbus is at so far.
Yeah, Aaron, how about Dallas Stars? We talk about all the teams we expect to be good off the bad starts. This is the one team we all like, and they're playing the way they're supposed to play so far. Currently tied 2-2 with San Jose in the third, but off to an undefeated start, 3-0 so far to start this year.
I mean, thank God for the Stars, because now they don't make us look like complete idiots, right? I mean, yeah, good start. Way to go, boys. My favorite thing about the 3-0 start is they're spreading it around. They got 3 or 4 guys with 4 points. It's not one line. It's not one guy. We talked it to death in the preseason game or the build-up, especially in the Central Division, that, hey, they got 3 lines that look like line 1 is a legit line 1, line 2 is a line 1.5, and line 3 is a line 2, if that makes sense. It's like I feel like that movie, The Jerk, when 2 hours feels like 3 weeks or whatever. But anyway, the even their fourth line is better than most third lines in the NHL. So they're out there spreading it around. Like you said, JT, I got the game on now. Still 2-2. Just need to pump one in. But it brings me what I'll
Need a
close with
-1.5.
Dallas. Yeah. What I'll close with Dallas is it's. I'm glad this came up in real time because that's a really good hockey bet. If you've got a tie game going into the third period and you've got one team that matches up better than the next, you're basically playing for that goal plus the empty netter at the end of the game. You're also playing with a clean sheet, so they're coming out, they cut the ice, they get the new ice out. It makes a difference. A lot of times those dominant, really good teams come out and they score a goal right away to kick off the third period. Um, so something to keep your eye on, and it not just tie that bet to Dallas. I'm just saying overall as the season progresses, if you want to look at live bets, look at those games that are 2-2, 3-3. Goalies have already given something up. They're not playing for the shutout. But if they're tied going in, you think one team is tilted, go ahead and throw it down on that 1.5. I think it's a good way to do things, but you got to watch all the games. Not a bad thing. I was just telling you, Toast. I need more TVs in here. I need my living room to look like the best buy display. Like that's my goal this year is just to get enough in here so I can see them all at the same time.
I bet you can do it.
I think I can.
Toast, number 10 on the list, Detroit Red Wings off to okay start, 1-2 so far. It hasn't been pretty so far to start the year. They can't get down too much. That's a tough division they're in. They got to keep pace to not make a run. What are your thoughts on the Red Wings so far?
You hit it on the head, JT. They really can't mess around because of the division they're in. The Atlantic is just loaded. It's a really good division. I do worry with their goaltending so far, even though it hasn't been awful. All right, I mean they've given up 10 goals through 3 games. You're like, that's not bad, that's not awful, but they cut Husso already. Now again, they actually have 2 other goalies as well, but this cutting a guy that early, and I believe he actually had some cap on there as well. If I remember right, I want to say it's not like he cut a guy with $1 million cap hit either. So that's a little bit of a sign of desperation. We know how Detroit's actually struggled with the goalie position over the years, and you just don't want that to rear its head again, right? So Kane, real quiet start through 3 games so far. He's got a single assist. No hits, no blocks. We don't expect that, right? We know he's not going to give you peripherals, but only 6 shots on goal. You want him to get a little bit more involved. He just can't be just a distributor only. You want to actually take more initiative, actually put some more pucks on net. I expect him to do that, but again, only 1 point through 3 games. It is going to be a long season, but you want Patrick Kane to get off to a pretty good start. One guy I'm really excited about is Mort Seider. He's on power play 1. So they weren't quite sure if that was going to happen this year. And the fact that it is amazing considering he's had a great start to the season with the peripherals. He's got ton of blocks. He actually will shoot the puck every once in a while as well. Being on PP1, they've got really good players up there on PP1. So Mort Seider, if you could actually trade for him, you definitely need to, because he's good in any format, whether it be cats, actually, whether it be head-to-head, actually, whether it be bangers versus just points. He could do it all. So go out there and get Seider. And guys, I want to mention something before I turn it back over to Aaron. And Aaron, we'll probably have to pick up the pace a little bit here if we want to get through. But I know it's difficult, but we'll have to go get a rapid fire here. But I do want to say that Philip Gustafsson, the goalie for Minnesota, had a power play goal tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Heading on the next team, Edmonton Oilers for you, Aaron. I know
I
we've
think
already
got-
I feel like we've already beat it to death a little bit with them, but it's just a rough start.
we've
2 years in a row.
Yeah, we've done them dirty enough. Skinner sucks. They're in a goalie fiasco again for the millionth time in Edmonton. I'm going to repeat what Toast said, and I'll kick it off to the next. We can go to the next team after that. Is now's the time to. Vegas isn't buying any of this, by the way. You're not getting great bets on any of the lines, so they're not being fooled by this. But what you can do, to Toast's point earlier, is maybe get in on some of those other guys that they brought into Edmonton. Maybe make a trade. Maybe see if somebody's going to bite on something. Obviously, nobody's going to give up McDusty or Leon, but you may want to take a stab at some of those guys that are just kind of there, watching along, thinking, "Oh, these guys suck." But other than that, I think we've said it all.
Tell us about the defending champ Florida Panthers.
I said enough about Reinhardt right there, where he's really carrying his team. And they avoided disaster tonight. Barkov actually went really, really hard into the boards. It looked really, really bad when he actually did it. It looked like a lower body injury, like he really maybe hurt an ankle real bad or something. But they said it's just going to be 2 to 3 weeks. It could have been a lot worse. It's funny that Matthew Tkachuk's going to miss this entire week, they said, due to illness. And I'm like, that's odd. Just saying, we're going to rule him out for the week, and he's sick, so that's really, really rare. Not really think about that. But I think with all these absences, like Anton Liddell, he could be a guy to maybe pick up on the waiver wire. He's probably not owned in a whole lot of redraft leagues. Go get Lundell, younger guy. I think he's probably gobbled up in dynasties, or he actually should be. That's for sure. But he's actually going to pick up a ton of time with actually Barkov out. He's going to get some more chances. And to just throw it out there, Sam Bennett has been a machine. He's been a machine so far. Man, what a pesky guy. He's always pissing people off. Always is kind of in the mix, whatnot. But man, he's doing a little bit of everything right now. And this may be a good time right now with Sam Bennett owners if you can sell high on him. Sell high on him because they're so deep on Florida. I think he'll have a good season. I think he'll end up with maybe 55 points on the season, and he'll actually get the periphery hits and bangs and everything else. But sell high on Sam Bennett right now.
Aaron, how about the Los Angeles Kings off to a 1-0-2 start? So got the opening night win. They've been on the road. They're saying the whole first week on the road. There's a ton of stuff going on in LA. They've got like 6 or 7 road games to start off the year. But they've been in all close games, 3-1 win, a 1-2 loss, and an 8-7 loss.
Yeah.
Both of the losses.
The 8-7 loss is 1980s throwback there with Ottawa.
Yep.
Yeah. But tons of goals, tons of opportunity, not a whole lot of defense, not a whole lot of goaltending. Kopitar with the hat trick. So he's still got it. But I'd say from a fantasy perspective, you got Brant Clark that has looked very good, setting up plays, stepping in, getting the minutes that Doughty has. If you're in a redraft, there's a possibility he's still out there. I don't know what the percentage is when he got drafted. If you're in a dynasty, there's no chance he wasn't drafted. But again, one of those guys to maybe target in a trade before he gets too hot. Maybe go ahead and try to snake him now. Rest of this week, like you said, JT, they're still on the road. They got a tough back-to-back, Toronto, Montreal, back-to-back. That's never easy to pay. It's like playing the Yankees, Red Sox back-to-back. It's tough. Then they're back to California, but they're not at home. They're playing Anaheim. So, who knows? Maybe Anaheim will come back to reality and the Kings can drill them. But that's it.
So, how about Minnesota Wild?
Matt Boldy, one of the most young, impressive stars in the league right now. 5 points through 3 games to start the season. He's really kind of decided he's going to be their second best player. And that usually is to Joel Eriksson Ek, who's injured right now. But Ek is still a really, really good player, but Boldy is just amazing. So he's taken over that second spot there. A guy you actually maybe want to pick up right now, even in redraft leagues, would be Marco Rossi. He's seeing good time on ice right now. He's got 3 points in 3 games to start the season. Great sign for those who've got him in Dynasty, which he's going to be rostered in every single Dynasty league. But again, if you got a deeper league right now, you could go pick him up there in some redraft leagues as well. And what can we say about Kirill Kaprizov? You're lucky enough to actually get him. He was drafted on average, I would say, probably around maybe ADP of 8.5 to 9, 9.5, 10, somewhere around there. He's playing like a top 5 player right now. If you actually got him around 9, 10, 11, or 12, you got an absolute steal in your draft. He's going to get well over 100 points this season.
Aaron, what about the pesky Montreal Canadiens? Off to actually a little bit a little better start than we thought maybe from them.
Yeah. Once again, a team that made us look bad. The complete rebuild, so the tear down style, which I love, great. But maybe they're on it a little bit earlier. I was talking with you, Toast, earlier this week, or not this week, but earlier today. like what I see out of their defense. Gooley looks good. Matheson and Hudson. I mean, they all look all those your top 3 D men. The pairings aren't quite set. They're kind of mixing and matching a little bit, but for the most part, it's Gooley and Matheson. But it doesn't matter who they're at. The defense is good. They're jumping on those rebounds, so they're. And again, that's how a real NHL team is built. It's built from the back up. It's goalie, defense, and then your forwards. But to that point, then Montebo with a surprise shutout of Toronto. Toronto's home opener at home. Everybody had probably penciled in Austin Matthews for at least a Hattie.
Yep.
Didn't get anything. So fun time, fun team to watch. If you're just a fan of hockey, you just like to not really a whole lot on from a fantasy perspective other than Montebo. He could have been one of those guys that wasn't drafted, or you handcuff him with Primo and you have a decent, because again how good their defense looks. So just to kind of if he's out there, you may want to get on him if you're in a redraft, or who knows, maybe even Dynasty. Maybe everybody just kind of skipped over him. I know I took him very, very late, but last thing I'll say about Montreal is it's fun to watch the games because the crowd knows the games so well. They chip the puck in. They have a good just a good cycle, and the crowd's cheering for them. It's just fun to watch a Montreal game because it's just the mecca of hockey. It's where it was all born, and they have 26, 27 cups, so it's fun to watch and fun to have them be relevant.
So, what about the Nashville Predators, as they just gave up 2 goals to start off the third period tonight against Seattle, now down 5-3 to the Kraken with about 9 minutes left in the third?
Tough start for Nashville. If they don't lose it, they win this game tonight, they'll be 0-3. You would think there's going to be a little bit of a transition for Nashville, considering they actually brought in Stamkos and actually brought in Marchessault as well. And Stammer's been real quiet so far. And when I say real quiet so far, through 2 and almost 3 games right now, no points. No points. But he did have 8 shots, I will say, in the first 2 games. So that's good. But I see tonight, like a lot of the mainstays in that lineup have close to 18 and a half minutes of ice time already right now. He's stuck around 15 minutes as well. So I do worry that there's going to be a transition period for that team to just kind of get acclimated with one another. But man, once they do, there's going to be spurts, kind of like they did last year where they went on that. Not saying they're going to replicate whatever the hell they did. I think they didn't lose a game in like 22, 23 games, whatever it was, but they're going to get better. They're going to get a lot better. So I just think that there's too many professionals in that dressing room right now, and that they're going to be down for that long, and just have a little bit of a tough start here to the season, but they'll be just fine.
Aaron, how about the New Jersey Devils, currently leading the league in points with 8? They have played a couple more games than a few other teams, but they are 4-2 currently with 8 points to lead the league.
Yeah. I mean, I think the record says it all. Jack Hughes, a little of a slow start, but that speaks to the team depth for them to be 4-1 out of the gate. Look great in Europe. Those that got to watch those games, they look great there. From a fantasy perspective, of course, they dropped the game tonight to Carolina, but they got Ottawa and Washington, 2 winnable games, and Seamus Casey for those in the redraft leagues. He's probably available. Dynasty, probably not, but a guy that has had a very, very good start, highly touted prospect, but he is showing that he probably earned that reputation that he had even before he got to the NHL. But great job to the Devils so far.
Toast, excuse me, how about your New York Islanders?
Yes, my Islanders. Hey, they went into Colorado last night, and they beat them. They look pretty darn good. I was actually
Crushed
watching
my
that game.
bet.
Yeah. You know what? And crushed everyone's bet because again, we're just kind of just wagoning ourselves to Colorado and every single thing we do right now. We'll eventually learn. But what I noticed out of that game is, man, there was a lot of fast play on both teams in that game. I was just sitting here thinking, like, gosh, the puck's moving fast, and the players are playing so unbelievably quick. And that's a testament to what the Islanders have actually done. They've actually really improved that team speed. We know Barzal is one of the fastest players in the league, but they got a lot of players, and I think Patrick Roy is only actually going to help them, and really, he's gonna be a good addition to that team as far as the locker room presence and stuff. It was a homecoming for him last night. I'm sure it probably felt pretty darn good to go in there and beat his former team. Great balance on this team right now. It's what you expect from this type of team, right? In the past, you got 8 players with 2 points or more through 3 games. And the shots on goal are really being dominated by like 4 guys like Nelson, Palmieri, Horvat, and Lee. So I want to say one thing though before I go on to the next one. Go pick up Anthony Duclair. Duclair's the guy actually said it's going to score a goal on the first game of the season. He did. It just makes so much sense for him to actually be there. Duclair is a guy, as a journeyman. Every single year, nobody wants him, but yeah, he goes in and he actually really produces. He doesn't play much of defense. You just got to get used to that or whatnot, but he can actually score the putt. I'm going to say right now, he's actually going to score 35 goals this year.
Nice, I like it. Yeah, really balanced the Islanders have been so far this year, and we kind of expect that out of them.
And Jay, real quick, Matvei Michkov actually scores his first NHL goal, power play goal versus Edmonton, and Edmonton is now down 1-0.
Of course they are. Yeah, he's a guy that a lot of people were pumped about. We'll talk about him in just a second. New York Rangers, Aaron, where are we at on the Rangers?
Good start, typical Rangers start, 2-1 out of the gate. Shesterkin turning down the $11 million 8-year offer. Said he's not going to talk about it during the season, so they got an offer to him. Pretty transparent in what they offered him, but it really sets a lot for what the goalie market is going to be. I think he's probably number one goalie at this point, but they'll get it done. I if they have to pay him 12 and a half, he'll stick around. Lafreniere, again, I always butcher his name too, is looking good, and Panarin doing what Panarin does. He's a regular season merchant. He comes out, starts fast, maintains it. Then when the playoffs come, outside of last year he played well in the playoffs. Then he disappears. So we'll see. But he had a great start so far. They got Detroit and Toronto this week. I see it as 2 losses. I think, I don't know, whatever it is. But don't listen to me. My bet on the Edmonton, my shutout for Edmonton was over in the first 5 minutes of that stupid game. I hate the Oilers. I hate them. My God. Oh, anyway, that's all I got on the stupid Rangers.
Toast, let's get on to the Ottawa Senators. All I could think about was you the other night when they won 8-7 in OT, and I was like, this is the firepower Ottawa has. This is Toast's team. And I was like, I got Batherson. He got me some points in there, but I was like, man, this is what type of scary offensive team this team can be with the talent they have.
They got all the talent in the world. We've actually said it time and time again. Tim Stutzle's got 6 points in 3 games. Oh, Chucky's got 5, Batherson's got 3, and Josh Norris is really, really good at hockey when he's healthy. He is filling up a stat sheet right now. Hits, shots on goal, goals, assists. He's doing a little bit of everything. If he's healthy all year, I think Josh Norris scores 80 points this season. He's that good at hockey. Their question has always actually been with the goaltending. Minus that 8-7 win the other night versus the Kings at home, which is awesome for like a fantasy stat sheet, right?
Yeah.
That's the outlier. He actually started out the season with a really, really good game at home. 31 saves and 32 opportunities versus Florida in their opening game. He's got a muscle strain. And I actually hope he doesn't miss any time, because if he does, they're kind of screwed. So just like most teams, if they lose their starting goalie, they're actually going to struggle a little bit. But love what Ottawa's doing right now. They're going to score a ton of goals this year, and I just think that they're going to be a much improved team.
Yeah, Aaron, what about the Philadelphia Flyers? Like you just said, Michkov getting the power play goal, putting up the Flyers 1-0 here. What are we thinking about the Flyers so far?
Yeah, well, most of what I got to say about the Flyers has happened in real time. So they're up, like we said, 1-0. Michkov on the sheet. So let the Calder talk begin. Let his journey begin. Edmonton actually challenged that goal, and they lost the challenge. I don't know what there was to challenge. I just caught it on the end. But now they're back. It was a power play goal. Philly's back on the power play. I mean, I almost want to unmute this to see the level of boos that are going on in Edmonton right now. But the Flyers, Flyers are the Flyers. After last year, anything you never know what you're going to get when they come into town. Other than it's just fun to watch. Fun to watch this young team, and it's fun to watch. What's his name? Oh my God, name escaped me. I'm so flustered over this. But,
Konechny and
no, the coach.
Yeah,
grumpy.
Torts.
Torts. Thank you. How could I forget?
Yeah.
But
Well, we've
Torts,
covered a lot tonight, Aaron.
Yeah, what a classy move. Where he reached out to Gaudreau's dad and had him, bringing him on the eye. Torts seems like a great guy, hilarious to the media. Seems like just yeah. So Flyers are just that wild card. They can beat anybody at any night and probably drum the Oilers tonight.
Tell us, how about the Pittsburgh Penguins? 2-2, and there are 2 wins, 2 6-3 wins. A little more firepower we're seeing from Pittsburgh to start off the year off than maybe we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde, right? You got a really bad. I watched that opening night game. They lost 6-0, and boy, it was. The Rangers are great. The Rangers are real. We know that. It was embarrassing. They were so unbelievably bad. And then again, they win 2-6-3 games. They lose another 4-2 game. I think that was versus Toronto.
Yep.
So they're 2-2, but their old guys are actually doing it right. You got Malkin, Crosby, and Letang, and Carlson, and even Pedersen. Like, those are their score leaders right now. I do actually think that Anthony Beauvillier was a guy that actually had target. He's playing with Sid right now. Got a couple goals through 2 games on 12 or 4 games on 12 shots. That's not bad for actually him. He was a hawk for a second. We'll try to forget about that. But I would think too, they're missing Brian Rust. And Russ is no guy that's gonna carry a team or whatnot. But once Russ actually really gets healthy here, he's only played a couple games. He hasn't done a whole lot yet. Once Russ actually gets here in the mix, I think they'll be a whole lot better. But I'm still not actually expecting much from the Penguins this year. That won't be a playoff team.
Aaron, what about the San Jose Sharks? A young team. I've watched them a couple times already this season. I kind of like them. They might end up being my new West Coast team I watch late night. Not a great team, rebuilding, but man, they got some fun young players on that team.
Yeah, taking Dallas to OT tonight, so our bet sank, but I'll that's fine. Again, let's get it all out this couple of weeks.
I told you it wouldn't go.
Let's just lose all these ones now and start turning around here next week.
But I completely agree with you, JT. They are a fun West Coast team to watch, and if Edmonton keeps this nonsense up, then I may switch as well. Celebrini, game 1, gets his first goal, gets an assist. Talked about the injury a little bit. Shouldn't be anything serious. Should be back right away. And again, those first 2 periods they played tonight's the first time they played a good third period. So who knows? But just a fun young team to watch, and they have enough NHL talent to Foley, Barkley, enough guys around him to make him interesting to watch. Defense in the pipeline looks solid. Yeah, I mean, they're at least getting a point tonight, first point of the season after starting 0-2. So good for them.
Yeah. So Toast, next up on the list for us here is the Seattle Kraken, who are putting it to the Nashville Predators in the third period tonight, have chalked up 3 straight goals to go up 6-3 in this one with just a couple minutes left as they're going to get the win tonight.
Yeah. So I'm actually not going to talk a whole lot about them other than the fact that they've had a tough schedule so far. You host St. Louis. They actually had that game won. And then St. Louis actually comes back like a ball of fire. And actually on opening night when we actually did the live cast, they got 3 goals, I think, in a minute and a half, and actually just took control of that game. And it settled down and nothing happened in the third period. I ended up winning on that bet. But then they have to go to Minnesota and go to Dallas. And they played both of those teams really close. And then tonight at Nashville actually winning. So Seattle off to a really good start. Vince Dunn, I believe, actually has an injury right now. I couldn't tell you exactly who is their power play 1 quarterback. All this rapid fire right now. but maybe actually want to look and see who's on PP1 for the power play quarterback for defense. I'm not sure how long Vince Dunn's actually going to be out, but Seattle off to a really good start.
Aaron, you drew the short straw tonight, and you get the St. Louis
Yes.
Blues.
That was
They
by
lose
design.
4-1 Minnesota tonight.
Yeah, they suck. I hate them. What's to say?
Nothing. You skip them.
I'm so glad Minnesota beat them. 4-1. Yeah, just get out of here. Kyrie off to a quick start. Now that he's not under the defense first chief, went on. He's coaching in Toronto. But so he's kind of he's just flying around out there. So if you got Kyrie, good for you. I would never want him or draft him or want anything to do with him. They've got the Islanders and Carolina the rest of the week, so probably 0-2 there. They'll probably get if they got beat tonight, they're going to lose those 2 games. So put money on all your money you have in your wallet on the Blues to lose the rest of the week out.
Toast, how about the Tampa Bay Lightning? 2-0, had 1 game postponed. That's why they're only 2 games, but 2 4-1 wins. Big week ahead here as they got Vegas on Thursday, Ottawa on Saturday, and then Toronto, New Jersey, Minnesota, Washington next week. A nice little run there for them. What do you think about Tampa Bay?
This is going to be a nice little telltale here to how Tampa Bay's actually season's going to be shaping out here. It'll tell a lot about this team. They don't have any back-to-backs, so you actually think Vasilevsky's going to get at least 3 out of the 4 starts this week. He may take all 4, but at least 3 out of the 4. But going to Vegas, hosting Vegas, but then going to Ottawa, Toronto, and New Jersey, then come back home versus Minnesota. That's a gauntlet. It's a really, really tough schedule to start off, but they're actually 2-0, like you said, beating a tough Carolina team at Carolina, and then actually hosting Vancouver, who actually is really taking their lumps at the moment here right now. They probably miss Demko. But really like Tampa Bay. Gensel has not really done a whole lot yet. And I say a whole lot. He's got a couple assists. All right. So maybe that's actually better than actually not a whole lot. But I actually did watch that Kucherov or that game where Kucherov actually scored a hat trick. Makes it look so easy. And a couple of them were. I think he got an empty net goal on there, had another assist as well. Kucherov is, out of all of the top 5 picks, out of all of the fantasy drafts, again, we're a week and a half and 2 weeks into the season. Kucherov by far and away is the most consistent and actually the best so far. He's producing.
Yeah, Aaron, how about the Toronto Maple Leafs so far? 2-1 on the season. An absolutely great opening night game on Wednesday at Montreal, where Montreal beat them 1-0, and just like a battle between those 2 big time rivals was a great way to start off the season for those 2 Canadian teams. And then they come back with 2 nice wins, 4-2 against the Devils and then 4-2 against the Penguins.
Yeah, they're looking good. They look great. 2-1, like you said, JT. Impressive win over the Devils. They probably should have won that game in Montreal. Almost 50 shots on net. They got goalied. But their defense looks great. And why this is so important is because, again, we've got now Joseph Wall, their supposed 1-1 goalie. He's hurt. Now they've pretty much got 3 guys. Stolarz, who look good. Hildeby, some Swedish guy, know nothing about him. He looked good. It's the same old thing. It's Edmonton, it's Toronto. They're always who's in net. Are they going to get a goalie? Whichever one of those teams figures out that goalie and gets that true 1-1, I think will be your Western Conference representative. So could be the Leafs this year. Or I'm sorry, they're an opposite. That'll be their if they get their goalie situated out, it could be an Edmonton Toronto Cup, all Canadian Cup, but that's a tall order for both of these teams to simultaneously figure out their goalie problem. But Kings and Rangers this week, they can beat either one of those teams. Good start, fun to watch, love them.
So what about the Utah Hockey Club that I like to call the Yeti, as we are pushing hard for the Yeti name? They're going to do it. I feel it in my bones. They're going to do the right thing and call them the Utah Yeti. Where that nice start for, the new franchise, the move from Phoenix, 3-1 to get things rolling, tied at top of the Central out in the West.
They've looked fantastic. And this is a young group, actually just happy to actually be in a place that actually wants them. Great ownership so far to actually support. Saw that owner on opening night versus the Hawks. And if you actually look at the Hawks actually lost it, I'm thinking, oh, it's a bad loss. Not a bad loss. Not a bad loss at all. Dylan Gunther, man. Dylan Gunther. He needs more time on ice. And actually, they need to see if he actually gets more time on ice. Such a quick shot. Such a quick shot. This guy is going to fill up a stat sheet this year. He'll have over 40 goals. I want to say he's 20, 21. He's young. He's young. Let's say 21 maybe. But he's going to be the mainstay with Clayton Keller and Barrett Hayton. Go pick up Barrett Hayton right now. Hayton's actually got 5 points to a couple games so far. A goal and 4 assists, maybe 2 goals, 3 assists. I'm not sure, somewhere around there. But nevertheless, he's tore the stat sheet up. Go pick him up because he is available in a lot of leagues. And I'm going to say right now, Matvei Michkov, another power play goal, 2-0 Philly over at
Nice. I was hoping to sneak this
put in that
out
live
without
bet.
seeing it.
I think we put in that live bet. I think I'm going to go 0 for 4. So
and Oilers only have 3 shots on goal at home again in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
they stink.
Crazy.
I don't know what's going on.
It's crazy start. That's another team that's off to a little bit of a schneid. The Vancouver Canucks, winless so far, 2 OT losses as they're the start off the season. 6-5 to Calgary, 2-3 to Philly, and then 4-1 against Tampa. And then they got a game coming up on Thursday against Florida, and then Philly on Saturday to finish off the week. Aaron, kind of where are we thinking on kind of the slightly slow start? I know it's only 1 weekend on here for the Canucks.
Yeah, Canucks again. I throw them in with the stinking Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. Had higher expectations, hoping for. I mean, again, these are all 3 of these teams. Just they had a pretty lengthy playoffs. They're coming out of the playoffs. They know how 82 games is a long time. Whatever. So maybe they're all hungover. Vancouver, I would consider into that group. They're just, they just don't look like the. Well, actually, the Calgary game they should have won. JT Miller looked great. He's off to a fast start. So everybody that took him early, well done. He's starting. He'll be there. But the games you just mentioned, JT Florida, that'll be a tough game. And Philly, Philly's is a giant killer at the moment. So it might not be. They might not right the ship. They could very well at the end of this week be 0-4 with Florida and Philly, and then that the next week we'll see how they're at. But yeah, they were close on a couple, so I don't think they're as bad as the other 2. The other 2 are just in a tailspin at the moment.
Last couple minutes of the show here. Vegas Golden Knights lost tonight 4-2 to Washington as also Ovechkin got 2 assists in that game. They knocks off the undefeated, was 3-0. Knights had the best record in the league. Washington take them out tonight. Toast, where are we at on what we've seen from Vegas so far?
Jack Eichel and Mark Stone and Ivan Barbashev, they've been a wagon so far here in the first 4 games for Vegas. This is a team that was the over-under was 99.5. Remember that, guys? And I'm like, under, and that's not even close. I was like saying they're not even going to crack 90. Yeah, they're 3-1. They're 3-1. But here's the deal. Tonight, Eichel actually played 23 minutes, and also Mark Stone, might as well put him in a wheelchair. He played 21 minutes tonight, and Ivan Barbashev's actually playing way out of his mind right now. This just, again, the track record on Eichel and Stone actually being injured. And once those guys are injured, because they will be injured, and they'll be injured for periods of time, there's nobody to carry that team. Tomas Hertl actually is an underachiever at this point with a large contract, the $8.14 million contract for the next maybe 6 years after this. So the Knights, great start. I'm still not convinced.
Aaron, how about the Washington Capitals? Just talked about them getting their first win of the season. They're just 1-1 as they've had, not very many games to start things off here. 1-1, they get their first win of the year, upsetting the Vegas Knights at home.
Yeah, no, great game tonight. Good for them. Ovi, I saw 2 things from Ovi I haven't seen in a long time. Number one, he back checked, And number 2, he passed. Yeah, like you said, 2 assists. So he ripped one on power play. He missed the net, but did his old, the in his office or his area at the top left slot. So Logan Thompson on backup duty, or maybe it'll be more of a goalie tandem. Look great against his old Golden Knights tonight. They got Dallas and New Jersey this rest of this week. Expect them to lose both, but hey, what do I know? I don't know anything. So do what you want with those games.
Toast, how about to finish things off here? The Winnipeg Jets, the surprising 3-0 Winnipeg Jets.
Well, it's being happening because they're being put on their back by their stud goalie, who we actually talked about a lot on this podcast last year, and Connor Hellebuck. He's got to be the best in the league. And I know Shesterkin, maybe the 1-1. This guy's actually up there with the 1-2 and maybe the 1-1 as well. They've started off the season 10 goals for in 3 games, 2 goals against. One of those goals were actually versus the Hawks that they actually gave up. The Hawks actually had them 1-0 with maybe about a minute and 30 seconds left in the third period. And the Hawks actually give up a goal. They force OT, and then 35 seconds into the game, the Hawks actually lose. They beat the Hawks 2-1. But if you look back on the Hawks actually playing Winnipeg, that's a great game by the Hawks to actually go into Winnipeg and actually play them like they did. Winnipeg has really got off to a great start. Real quiet with the goal scoring under guys like Connor and Ehlers. And Scheifele's actually been good. Scheifele's actually scored quite a bit so far, but Connors and Ehlers have actually been very, very quiet so far. So if your top dogs are actually been super quiet and you're 3-0 and you've only got 2 goals, great start.
Well, fellas, that's going to be do it for us, as that's the end of the rapid fire here. We're just past the time. Any last final thoughts on the final face-off here before we say goodnight?
I'm just going to say no need to bet. Just go ahead and just hang it up for a couple weeks.
Slow roll it.
Stupidity is continuing. There's just no rhyme or reason on what's going on. Dallas actually takes a shootout there, the very last goal in the shootout there to actually beat San Jose 3-2 at home. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But that's what's happened through 4 or 5 games of the season through the NHL. That's all that's actually happened. The entire 4 games, unpredictability stuff. Let's let it calm down here. Save your money. Wait another week and a half or so, 2 weeks, and then get back in.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Love that the NHL is back, but let's pull the reins.
And one more thing. Let's get the freaking Hawks on TV. I'm sick and tired of them. I'm listening to the game right now. Chicago Sportsnet needs to get their shit together. Let's go ahead and make a deal with YouTube TV, make a deal with Comcast. I don't care who it is. I'll pay for it. Just give me an option to actually get their games. It's ridiculous right now.
Yeah. Yep.
That is going to do it for us tonight here on Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Stick around for college football betting show on The Stew with JT Brew here on Fantasy and Frames. And then tomorrow night, we've got action for you all night long, starting at 8 Eastern time and going through till the late night, as me and Jorge give you the late night IDP show as we talk a little defensive player fantasy football. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Hockey is here. It's good to be back. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Check us out every Tuesday night here on Fantasy in Frames, 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central. Appreciate it. Check you guys next time.